The Berenstain Bears don't pollute anymore. When Bear County Cubs learn pollution's a fact, they help grown-ups learn to clean up their act. Well, looky here, said Papa Bear as he opened the evening news. Your friend Professor Actual Factual's got his picture in the paper. Oh, said Brother and Sister Bear, coming to see. There's a big story, too, said Papa, and a headline. My goodness, said Mama Bear, what's it about? Leading scientist claims Bear County's in serious trouble, and he's reading the headline. He said, reading the headline. What sort of trouble? Asked Sister. Papa, who was reading the story to himself, didn't answer. What sort of trouble? Said Mama, repeating Sister's question. Oh, you know how professors are, he said. Actual Factual is making a big fuss about pollution. Well, I know how Professor Actual Factual is, said Mama, and I think he's quite sensible. So do I, said Sister. Me too, agreed Brother. Oh, he's a great guy, all right, said Papa. He's dug up some terrific dinosaur bones, and he runs a great museum, but I happen to think he's gone a little overboard on this pollution thing. I'm as much against pollution as the next fellow, he continued, but I just don't think a couple of candy wrappers and drinking cups along the side of the road is the end of the world. Besides, Bear County's in great shape. Come on, I'll show you. He opened the door and led the family out onto the front stoop. You see, Bear County is not only in good shape, it's downright beautiful. The rolling hills, the forests, the lakes, and the streams. Just look at it at the sunset. It's beautiful, all right, agreed Brother, but our science book says that some of those colors are caused by chemicals in the air that shouldn't be there. Piffle, said Papa. Say, aren't you two supposed to be doing homework? Sister, who had just about completed her homework, finished quickly, but Brother Bear was stuck. Teacher Bob had asked him to do a report on an endangered species. The books he had taken out of the school library weren't very helpful. Of course, the kind of shape Bear County was in wasn't as simple as Papa made it seem. How Bear County looked depended on your point of view. It looked fine from the Bear family stoop. It looked even better if you had a bird's eye view while flying above the earth. But if you had a squirrel's eye view and were finding fewer and fewer acorns because too many trees were getting cut down, Bear County didn't look so fine. If you had a duck's eye view, you might think the professor was right about pollution. And if you had a fish's eye view, you might think things were downright awful. The next day, Brother asked to visit the museum and asked Professor Actual Factual for help with his endangered species report. Sister Bear went with him. Professor's Actual Factual was usually cheerful and friendly and bubbling over with ideas and projects when the Cubs visited, but this time he looked worried and glum. He cheered up a bit when he saw them, but when Brother told him the purpose of the visit, to get help on a report about endangered species, he said something very surprising. I'll tell you the endangered species to do your report on the U.S. We don't understand, they said. It's very simple, explained the professor. We bears and all other creatures need certain things to survive: clean air to breathe, pure water to drink, and good soil to grow food in. If we don't do something about pollution, we're all going to become endangered species. Come on, he said. You'll understand soon enough. He led them to where Actual Factual Mobile was parked. It was a special van with all kinds of scientific gear in it. Then the professor took Brother and Sister on a Bear County tour they wouldn't soon forget. They went past Grizzly Gus's garage where they saw oil leaking into a stream, getting on a duck, and killing some fish. They went past some old box factory where they saw ugly black smoke pouring out into the air. They scuba dived into Great Bear Lake where they saw everything from soda cans to rusty old bed springs and worse, but they saw the fish tangled in the plastic soda can holder. They cut it loose, but they couldn't rescue all the fish from all the plastic holders carelessly thrown away. They drove through the forest and saw that a great many trees had been cut down and not many new trees had been planted to replace them. You might speak to your dad about that, said the professor. He and his fellow woods bears could help with that problem. I think I see what you mean about becoming endangered species, said brother when they got back to the museum. Yes, agreed sister, but what are we going to do about it? Did that evening news story do much, asked brother. Not much, said the professor. The idea that bear country is in serious trouble because of pollution seems to be hard to get across. To grown-ups maybe, and sister, but we understand, and all of our Cubs friends will too, because we're the ones who will have to live on the messed up, polluted earth when we grow up. Professor said, brother, how does this sound? You come to our school and explain all about pollution to the Cubs in bear country. Maybe we can do something about it. Actual Factual was impressed. I'll give Teacher Bob a call right away and arrange it, he said. And that's what happened. The Cubs were all eyes and ears as Actual Factual told them about the bear country was getting into. First, he taught them the three important new words: ecology, conservation, and recycle. The way the professor explained it, ecology means how all the creatures, plants, and earth itself work together. Conservation means not wasting the valuable things on the earth, like water, oil, wood, and metal. And recycle means finding ways to use some of those valuable things over and over. The Cubs learned quite a lot from the Actual Factual, and they had some ideas of their own too. How about a recycling program, suggested one Cub. Maybe for newspapers to start adding another then if it works for cans and bottles too. Tim Honeypot said he talked to his dad, Mayor Honeypot, about it. Brother Bear remembered Grizzly's Gus garage. You shouldn't be allowed to spill oil into streams and kill fish, he said. Babs Bruno, whose dad was the chief of police, said, I'll talk to my dad. If there isn't a law against it, there ought to be. Even Too Tall helped with an idea. My uncle owns the super duper market. He could put in a bag return plan for reusing bags. Excellent suggestion, said the professor. And if some folks don't want to cooperate, and added Too Tall, me and the gang can lean on them a little. The bag return is fine, Too Tall, said Teacher Bob, but no leaning. Cousin Freddie had the best idea of them all. Let's start a club to stop pollution and call it Earth Savers Club. We'll make posters and bumper stickers and have cleanups and marches and parades. But there was still a problem of Papa and his fellow woods bears. That evening, brother and sister told Mama and Papa about the Earth Savers Club and all the plans for stopping pollution. Mama was very impressed. Papa was too. As I said before, I'm just as much against pollution as the next fellow. But when the Cubs asked him to be sure that he and his fellow wood bears plant a new tree for everyone they cut down, he got a little grumpy. Humph, he grumped. It's hard enough to cut down trees without having to plant them as well. Besides, what's all the fuss about? They're just trees. My dear, said Mama, these Cubs are right. The forest is a living and deserves respect. Papa was about to say piffle, but thought better about it. The problem of conserving the forest must have been on his mind because that night he had a dream. In the dream, he was walking toward the forest to cut wood, and the trees began to sway and wave their branches. Then the branches turned into reaching, grasping arms. Then the trees climbed out of the earth on their roots and chased him. Help, cried Papa in his sleep. The trees, they're after me. He woke up in a cold sweat. Having a nightmare, asked Mama. It must have been something I ate, he said. Or something you heard, perhaps, she said, about trees. Piffle, he said, and turned over to try to go back to sleep, but it wasn't going to be easy. Earth Savers Club. The Cubs didn't expect to solve all Bear Country's pollution problems, but the Earth Savers Club made a very good start. The mayor declared a special holiday called Earth Savers Day, and the clubs had a big parade. Brother and Sister Bear marched at the head with Professor Actual Factual. A good woods bear plants a tree for every single one he cuts. No ifs, ands, or buts. No maybes. There were many grown-ups in the parade too, including Papa Bear, who carried a sign that did not say piffle.